to database part 2, video number 2, parameters. The presenter is still me, Chigomana MD. In this lesson, we are going to look at connecting to a Microsoft Access database programmatically, but we are going to concentrate on parameters. We use parameters when we are not sure which criteria the user is going to input. I refer to that as dynamic data. In other words, data which is not consistent. Let me start by showing you how the application must work. When we load the program, our application must show everything. In other words, our criteria is that we must show all the fields, names, and everything that is there in our table. Now, let's say, for example, I'm going to concentrate on race here, but this time I'm going to type what I want. Let's say, for example, I want white under race. Then I will go to this input text box and write and type white. Then when you click race, then you see only white. Can you see? So in the same text box, I can write India. When I click race, I'm going to see only people who are Indian. When I click African, I'm going to see only people who are African. The same applies to area. With area, let me just write Vereniging. When I click area, I'm going to see only people from Vereniging. When I type Siwugang, when I click Siwugang and click area, I'm going to see only people from Siwugang. So that is how our application is going to work. If you can just check, we're using one text box, but we are trying to apply different criteria. In other words, our data input is dynamic. That is when we apply the method of parameters. Now, let me go and show you the steps of applying parameters. Now, the following are the steps to apply parameters. You must declare a parameter holder. Step number 2, you must declare the actual parameter. Step number 3, you must assign the parameter holder to the actual parameters and then get input for the parameters. You must add the parameter to the parameter list or to the collection. Let me repeat. You must declare a parameter holder. You must declare the actual parameter. You must assign the parameter holder to the actual parameters. You must get the input for the parameters. You must add the parameters to the parameter list. Remember, all these things are happening in step number 7 of connecting programmatically. Let me go and show you how that works in a program. I'm going to show you this by using btn areas click event. So the steps are the same. You create a connection. Step number 2, you create a command object. Step number 3, you create a data table. Step number 4, you set a connection string. Step number 5, you open the connection. Step number 6, you initialize the connection. Step number 7, you query the database. That is when we are going to apply the steps that we have learned in our previous slide. Right. Now, under query the database, check what is happening here. Our SQL statement is like this. Select all from val people where area is equals to @area. Now, what is this @area? This @area is our parameter holder. It is our parameter holder. In other words, remember we said that our first step when we use parameters, we must create the parameter holder. Now, why do we create a parameter holder? Because our data will keep on changing. Our data will keep on changing. If our data was not going to keep on changing, we were going to say select all from val people where area is equals to, let's say, for example, Sebokeng. Now, if we wrote Sebokeng here, it means that our data was not going to change. Every time we click the button area, we were going to see, the results from Sebokeng. But now that it will keep on changing Sebokeng, Vereeniging, etc., then we use the parameter holder. Step number 2, under querying the database, we create the actual parameter. Now, how do we create the actual parameter? Dim parameter par area as new oldb.oldb parameter. Now, oldb.oldb parameter is a built-in. It is a built-in class. It is a built-in class. Now, out of this built-in class, what we are going to do here, we are creating our parameter. Now, the name of this parameter, I call it par area. Right. I have called it par area. I have used the prefix par so that I can know that this is the name of the parameter. But when it comes to the name of the parameter holder, I have used at. In other words, the parameter holder must be preceded with at. Now I've created the actual parameter, and the name of my actual parameter is par area. You can call it whatever you want, but remember, you must do something which is meaningful. Step number 3, I am assigning the content of my parameter holder to the parameter. In other words, whatever the parameter holder has is going to be assigned on the right hand side, which is the parameter area.parameter name. In other words, we are giving our parameter a name by using a parameter holder. Let me repeat this for the sake of effect. Line number 111, we are giving a parameter a name by using the parameter holder. In other words, the name of the parameter area of par area is now going to change to be at area. Line number 114, we are giving the parameter its value. Where is the parameter going to get its value? The parameter is going to get its value from the text box where I was typing. And the name of the text box is txt input. That is where I was typing all those values. Now, lastly but not least, line number 117, you must add the parameter to the parameter collection. From there, you follow all the steps that you have learned in video number 1. Let me repeat these steps. Step number 1, you must query the database. When you query the database, you even create the parameter holder. Step number 2, you create the actual name of the parameter. In this instance is par area. Step number 3, you assign the parameter holder to the parameter name. In other words, instead of being called par area, now our parameter is now called at area. In other words, it is now, it is the placeholder is going to take its part. Line number 114, we are taking the information from the user by using txt input and make sure that we put the information to the parameter. Lastly but not least, we add the parameter to the parameter collection. Every time when you have declared a parameter, make sure that you add it to the parameter list or the parameter collection. Now, how do we do that? We just say obj command.parameters.add. In other words, the name of the command dot parameters dot add into bracket the name of the particular parameter. Basically, that is that. What I'm going to seal this lesson with is to give you the summary of the steps to use parameters. In short, the steps to apply parameters are as follows. You declare a parameter holder. You declare the actual parameter. You assign the parameter holder to the actual parameter. You get the input for the parameters. You add the parameter to the list or to the collection. Thank you for this lesson. I hope you have enjoyed it.